What about war? I can say that yes, I get used to it actually, and I don't feel the stress probably.
Hey guys, since shooting this episode 2 weeks ago, Russia has launched a full-scale attack on Ukraine. As you can see from the message to Ksusha, they were bombing during the night, but she's safe right now. And I'm going to add some links in the description so we can do our part to help the Ukrainian people like Ksusha. I hope you enjoy our conversation. We hear about the growing tension in Ukraine on the news every day. But what is life like for people that are actually living, working, and trying to move forward here? Many people in Ukraine now are the same people who fled Crimea after Russia took over in 2014, and despite what's going on, those people don't want to leave Ukraine.
When I speak to my friends over here, they tell me they still feel safe. And it feels like that if they give up on their life, Russia would have won the war without even starting it. I think after seeing Ukraine for the last 8 years being at war with Russia, they became desensitized by the whole thing and decided to turn their fear into determination to move forward.
One of the many that escaped Crimea during the conflict was Ksusha, an artist, fashion designer, and entrepreneur who founded her own independent designer clothing brand in 2014. I'm here in Kyiv to ask about her experiences and what it was like to launch a scaling business in the middle of wars, revolution, and uncertainty about the future.
I have been to so many phone calls this week because I'm here in Kyiv and I've been people calling me for work and things like that, and everyone seems so worried about me, like my mom and everything. How do you feel about what is happening right now with Russia and Ukraine? And I know for you it's normal because I know I've been in Kyiv so many times and it's been like 8 years, but the rest of the world seems to think that things here are very bad and things are not moving forward. And how do you?
Well, I'm not agree, of course, because we are moving forward, and situation in little little business is changing every day. I think that we are growing. I'm not talking about my brand, but in general about young people who have business. And I hear that every day something new appears, and people invent new things. They open new startups. They grow. Some of them, of course, go on break. I don't know. So some businesses are disappearing. But what I see that our business area becomes more strong. Yeah, strong. It becomes stronger. What about war? I can say that yes, I get used to it actually, and I don't feel the stress probably, because of course in several months ago when we heard some news about probably upcoming war, we were very stressed and scared because, for example, my parents are still living in Crimea, and we don't know how it will work if something will happen.
What I want to talk about, I know it's a fashion week in Kyiv, started I think yesterday, right? And it's interesting to me because you are an unusual designer, and I go into your Instagram, and I would expect a designer from Kyiv during Fashion Week on Instagram to see pictures of you at Fashion Week and you going out, and instead I see you killing zombies on
PlayStation.
On the PlayStation, yeah. You are an unusual designer. I have to
Really?
say. Well, yeah, I think so. In a positive way. Do you game much?
Yes, I like this area. I like PlayStation, all these new games, online games. Feel like huge relaxation when
you shoot people.
Yeah, not shoot people. No, zombies.
Zombies
but
and Nazis, yeah?
Actually, in the beginning, when I had to kill somebody, I thought, no, it's not. Why do I don't want to kill them. But after they did it, I thought, okay, me or them? I need to decide.
I like the attitude.
Yes. So yes, I like this. I like gaming world. It's very interesting for me, really. I read pretty much about new projects, about their founders, how do they run their business, about their problems, about their some mental issues when they need to choose art or project which will bring money. So it's very interesting.
Oh, you read about like the gaming industry and now, and I think it's very similar to the design industry in a way, right? It's
I
like
think yes.
you have to choose a lot of the times with between art and what you love to do and business, right?
Yeah, it's true. That's probably why I decided to read and listen about their stories, because I see some familiar things. And I thought that probably it's only my problem, that I cannot, not all things which I like can bring us money. I mean about brand. I'm talking about brand. And I thought that it's my problem, that all our dresses, they must be bestsellers, but it doesn't work like that. Actually, it never works like that. And I thought that it's my problem. Then I found these people. I saw their interviews and was listening to their stories. I understood that they have the same troubles, but their scales are much bigger. They like this. Their company is bigger. The industry is more.
I agree with you.
Yeah. So
I agree with you 100%. It doesn't matter how big your business is.
yeah.
The problems are the same, and I see in e-commerce, and I get this question a lot. It's like making like $1,000 a month and making $300,000 or $400,000 a month. The problems are actually the same.
Yeah, it's
And the business is actually the same. The structure is the same. It's not. There's no such thing as like, oh, I'm building something or I'm doing something just for a small merchant, like in e-commerce. It's the same thing. Big merchants, small merchants. It's just they have bigger size problems, but they have to deal with the same. Exactly the
Yes,
same.
I agree. Probably they have a bit more responsibility because they have more people, I mean, in their companies, and they need to communicate. For example, I need to communicate with 10 people per day. They need to communicate sometimes with 20, 25 or 30 because there are plenty of artists in their company, some managers and some people who make sculptures for 3D sculptures for and so on and so forth. They have a bigger amount of departments and they need to control everything at once. It's very hard. That's why some of them quit their jobs actually, and it's very sad. But they're still like they're left people, and they have this possibility to make this choice and to move forward to another direction, maybe.
Yes. And I think as you grow, the problems become a little bit different. And I think when I met you, which is actually an interesting story because I came to Ukraine because I was DJing here for the first time. Yeah, you didn't know this. I arrived in Ukraine and a friend of mine was in a festival here and I came over here and I was meant to be here for 4 days. And what happened was that I went on Tinder and I decided then to stay for 2 weeks because, and we matched. I think we matched on Tinder, right? Then we
Yes.
met, yeah, we did.
It's true.
It's true. And then we went out. It was very, very nice. And at the time, it was 2 people. It was you, and there was someone else, and you were really just starting. And that was, I think, was like 5 years ago. And how many people is in your business now?
15 people.
15.
15, yes.
Wow.
15 plus are manufacturers.
15
So without seamstresses.
Yeah, without seamstresses.
Yeah.
So with the seamstress, we're looking at 20?
I think more because we have several manufacturers we are working with. So some of them have 10 people, some of them 45, some of them 5. So they all have different scale. But of course, not all seamstresses are working for us. Probably with seamstresses around 25.
Oh, wow. What happened? What happened in the last 5 years? Because I remember. So when I met you, I remember it was 2 people, and you weren't doing any online. I remember where I was talking to you about e-commerce and things like that. You're like, I just sell wholesale, and I don't do much online.
Yes, we had some problems with the website. Today we have like a website that works normally. It's okay. I like it, but of course it has troubles, of course. But it probably our fourth or fifth website. And I remember that first websites I made myself. It was very strange. I used tutorial on YouTube.
Okay.
I thought that I would do everything myself because, of course, I had no money. I had much energy, and I wanted to. And my first website was on Shopify. Actually, I built it myself. Yes, like okay, not built myself, but I used Shopify, and so on and so forth.
Then you moved. You moved from Shopify. You went to WooCommerce, right?
No,
WordPress.
No. Yes, to WordPress, but it's. Then we had second WordPress website, and now a third WordPress site.
Why did you move from Shopify to WordPress?
Well, in the very beginning, we were counting our money very attentively, and for me, as for super young designer at that times, it was very complicated because I never knew how much I will earn like next month. So I understood that probably this website, it's not very, for me, it wasn't very reliable because I had to count my money. I wanted something free, like,
Okay,
you know,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah, gotcha. I understand what you mean. I understand what you mean. It's a problem that a lot of, when you start out, you need to count your money and you need to make sure that, you know, you're not overspending. And I think the issue that I saw a lot of the times with Shopify was that to do the basic things, it's not that expensive because start from 29, 17, but then when you want to do dedicated landing pages, maybe you want to do upsells, you want to start adding apps and stuff like this, and then the bills start to rack up.
Yes,
Very
every
easily.
option.
I think so. But what happened and how did you grow the business so much? Was that just in the last 2 years? So how did it develop?
Oh, we never had an explosion of business, like you know when people.
Steady.
Yes, we were. It was very in very relaxed speed. Let's say it like this. Well, I use target promotion. I think that it helped me very much to grow business, and we found clients all over the world because of this of this type promotion. Also. Actually, as for me, nothing has changed. But people say that it becomes bigger. I feel it. I see numbers, of course. I see numbers of our items, of our income, of people. But I can't say that I feel differently. I always feel like I'm in the very beginning. I don't know what to
But
say.
you are, yeah, no, you are. I think you are at the very beginning. I think it's great to feel like this. I think, and for me as well, any business that I did in e-commerce, I always felt. I was at the very beginning because you always look at the future, you always look at what you can do next, you know, and you don't, and as long as you keep like a simple life and you don't change your life that much, even if you make your more money, it doesn't really change your life. And this is what happened to me as well. It kind of gave me more, I was a bit more relaxed maybe, but I didn't start like buying things or changing my lifestyle, even though, you know, the business grew.
I think if one day I earn like a huge amount of money, probably I will be a little bit stressed how to keep them, because because when you earn much, you can lose much. It's also a problem.
When you have nothing to lose. That's very right. So no, I wanted to talk about a little bit how everything started because I know you're an architect, so how you decided to become a fashion designer and how you decided to leave a very, I think, good career, you know, as an architect and say, hey, I'm going to just chance this, become a fashion designer with no money and run my own brand as well. Not like working for someone else, but just like run my own brand.
Well, I never planned to be a fashion designer actually, and I loved my job. I like to be an architect, and I like this idea to make like beautiful buildings around the world. And actually, yes, I enjoyed my stay in the company. I worked in a pretty big company in Kyiv in creative department, so it was like dream career when you need to invent, to draw, and to make propositions for people, but you don't need to make drawings. You know what I mean? Like you need to create. You are creative. You are working in creative department, and you need to create something brand new. So, it was the best place for human who just left university. It's the best one, without any internship and so on. And after I made one big project of trade center in Kyiv, it's really huge. I felt probably that I have nothing to say. I don't know why. I don't know why it's happened actually, but I was interested, of course. But I thought that I have no perspectives in Ukraine as an architect, because architects don't earn much, and I can't plan my life, or because my dreams about my life were a bit bigger than my salary, and this salary killed my ambitions in architect's area. But before I quit it, I decided, I had no idea about quitting architect's job when I started learning about fashion. I just decided to change picture sometimes in my life, to learn something new, and I didn't plan to make business in fashion. I just wanted to have some fun. And sometimes on Saturdays I visited some school for seamstresses and tried to learn how to make trousers or shirt or collar or something like that. Because basically I always worked with a computer, with 3D programs and so on and so forth, but I never worked with my hands. And if for some people in seamstresses school, they could make collar for within 15 minutes, I needed probably 5 hours. For me, it was very complicated task, because my hands and my brain, they were connected only in computer, but not in physical.
With physical objects. Yeah.
No, yes, not with physical objects. And I just started to have some fun and to prepare several skirts, 4 skirts, just why not? Why not to try? Well, I found seamstress and prepared the task for her, and she made skirts using my patterns. And then I decided to sell them. Why not to sell? Because I didn't want to wear them, I wanted to sell them. So then I sold 2 skirts and decided to make 4 dresses for this amount of money. So I had no brand, no label, no promotion, nothing at all, just skirts, and I decided to go to physical shops and propose them to sell it. So they sold it, I received some money. It was very, very simple method actually, very in the market.
And how much did you quit your job already?
So
before you started this, did you quit
No.
your job? No. You're still working as an
Yes,
architect.
I was still working as an architect, and actually I thought that probably it's possible to
do both.
Yeah, to both, because fashion for me at that times was fun. Not.
But then you quit your job.
Yes, I did.
Why?
I quit my job because I saw Night Dream. I don't know if it's okay if I talk about this.
Of course, yeah, you can talk about anything.
Well, I had a night dream where I heard that some problems in my family are coming and that my granny will die soon. It was a night dream, and next morning I woke up and decided to quit my job immediately and go back to Crimea, from Kyiv to Crimea. And actually, yes, it happened in several months. As my granny had some troubles with blood pressure, had heartbreak or heart attack, yeah. And in 8 months she died. She passed This dream was true, and when I came to Crimea, and while my granny was alive, I decided to focus more on dresses and on fashion. But I worked as an architect on freelance too. So money from freelance gave me some freedom to make at least something in fashion area. So I found some manufacturers and factories in Crimea and started communicating with them. Of course, I had ambitions also. I wanted to produce hundreds of dresses and so on. And I remember my dialogues. Actually, I feel so sorry about the people because I think that they thought that I'm a very big fashion designer, and I always called them and said, I want to make dresses. Yes, it will be very big amount. But actually, I had a plan to make at least 5 or 10, but my dreams were a bit bigger than my possibilities at that time. Yeah, and I just started to learn how to communicate with suppliers. Yes, how to buy fabrics in wholesale shops and companies. So I started making more dresses, and I remember I lived with my granny in one apartment, and she always supported me. I remember this in the very beginning. We were sitting next to a window in my room, and I remember how she was talking to me while I was making new dresses and so on and so forth. So it was very, very sensitive beginning for me, let's say it like this.
Yeah, because she had you told me that she had a big influence at the very beginning in your childhood as well.
Yeah.
Right? Because she exposed you to art.
She's like my second mom, actually.
Exactly,
yes.
Yeah. She exposed you to art, exposed you to design and all of this. And that was this in 2000 and before 2014?
When it happened? Yes, it was before Crimea was annexed.
And what happened after Crimea was annexed? Did you decide, that was the time that you decided to leave, yeah?
Yes, after Crimea was annexed, I decided to stay at home for several months more after my granny's death. It happened almost in the same time. And then...
What happened? Like, can you explain a little bit what happened in Crimea during that time?
Yeah, I remember one day I woke up around 4 a.m. because my room was full of light. When I opened the window, I saw army cars, Hammers and tanks, and they were in the center of our city. Of course, I didn't understand what was going on, but next morning we woke up and some bad news were going out of TV, and my father told me, like, Ksusha, it looks like people from another country come to Crimea, so let's stay still and let's look what will go on.
So he said people from another country, he didn't say Russians?
Actually, we understood that it was Russians.
But they
had no...
they were hiding.
Yeah, they were
hiding their Russian identity.
Yes, they were hiding their Russian identity. Actually, not all of them were, I don't know if it's okay to say like this, they were not all like European...
Looking?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could see what, the eyes?
Yeah, Asian eyes. Yeah.
Asian eyes, like Tajikistan, Uzbekistan.
Yes, or Bashkiria, something like
okay,
this.
Yeah, I got it, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But of course we understood. I can, when I hear like Russian language, because I'm also use Russian language in my life. But when I hear their language, like Russians people,
you can hear that.
Of course, I understand that they came from the north, of course.
Yes, and then you decided to fly it, obviously. Because
yes, I understood that probably changes will happen, and these changes won't bring us comfortable life, because some very simple things for which we get used to, like credit cards or our banks or logistic, it will shut down soon. So it's happened. Actually, I understood that I have very big limits in my place, but actually I planned to live next to this by the sea, and to enjoy my life. I didn't want to come back to Kyiv because it's very noisy, it's very dirty, and
it's a city, right?
Yeah.
Your brand is over the sea, so
yes.
I'm sure
Yes.
it's like I think I'm sure like your idea of building a fashion brand was like, oh, I live in Crimea.
Yeah.
It's an island around the sea,
Yes.
beautiful weather. I'm gonna make a brand call over the sea and make beautiful floaty night dresses that you can wear on the beach.
And I want to
Elegantly,
bring
right?
this atmosphere of that place to girls around the world. For me, it was
So of
an
course,
idea.
Kyiv is not a good. I mean, Kyiv
no.
you would see more like a streetwear or things like that, right? But
It's true.
I mean, it worked out good because I think people maybe in a city they want the sea, right? Right? People at the sea they want the city, right? You always want something that you don't have.
Yes, of course, it's true. But also, it's pretty big city, and people are different here. Some of them really like to wear some urbanistic clothes, I don't know, and they prefer really streetwear and something very comfortable. But some women, they get tired of this and they want to have something special in their wardrobe. So also I understand that e-commerce gives us huge freedom to bring this atmosphere around the world. It's also very important, and that's why it makes business much easier than maybe 20 years ago.
When I speak to like entrepreneurs or people that want to start a business, they often ask me, how much money do I need to start, or what do I have to do? Should I raise money? Should I just start small? And I just wanted to ask you, how much money did you have when you started, and what was the thing that what was the steps that you took from the first investment and then the first let's say the first hire.
Well, in the very beginning, I had $200. It was my bonus at project company. I received a bonus to my salary because of that big project which I was working at. So my first investment was $200. After that, well, I had $200. After I sold several items, it became $400 and so on and so forth. Very little steps. But I didn't know how to communicate with people, with customers. So I had to learn how to talk, what questions to ask, and how to propose, because architects, they're a little bit different. For them, to work as a seller in the shop, it's something not very respectful, let's say like this. Yeah. Because you are an architect and now you need to sell dresses.
Yeah.
So
you're like продавщица.
Yeah, you are like продавщица. It's not very nice. Yeah, they think so. So I decided to go to the shop at the market
and become a продавщица.
Yes, and become a продавщица. It's true, but actually I've enjoyed it very much because it was something very new for me, absolutely unfamiliar, and I had to move every day. I didn't have to sit all day long on my chair. For me, it was interesting because we had very different customers. They had different sizes, they were different age, and so on and so forth. And I wanted to learn how it works in life, in physical life, in real life, yes. So I decided, and I understood that for me it's pretty easy to communicate with people because I can hear them and I have this empathy.
Yes, yeah, it makes sense. And I do think that that's an issue for a lot of people entering in online business and in online e-commerce is because you don't necessarily talk to customers straight away. So when you launch like an online store, for instance, a lot of people enter into drop shipping, right? So you just buy some clothes and then you sell them from someone else, and then you use like a third-party logistics. So you're basically focusing on marketing, selling your products, but you're actually never seeing your products and you don't really talk to people much. Does it make sense?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, and it's an issue, I think, nowadays. And I think it's like, because you want to have the benefit of an e-commerce straight away, then you end up not knowing your customer because you don't have to go to trade fairs, you don't have to sell. And I was speaking to a guy, what was it, like I think last week, and he told me that he started his e-commerce store and then it wasn't going that well. So what he started to do, because he had bought a lot of stock, he went into like trade fairs. And he made like $20,000 in trade fairs. Like, trade fairs are like where different sellers go into like a big warehouse, and then you have a small stand, like a market basically, right? And then at the time, he was just doing that because he had a lot of stock and he didn't want to lose the money. Okay. So online it wasn't working. So it was like, my only option is to sell it at the market. But then while he was at the market, he was able to understand what the customers really wanted. And then he relaunched this e-commerce store, and now it's very successful.
Yeah.
It was a kind of cool story where, the e-commerce
Yes,
was not
it's
working, and then he ended up to having to sell the stock in real life because the e-commerce, he couldn't drive traffic, he couldn't do Facebook ads and all of that. But then he learned more about his customer, he changed the product, and the product now is more successful, and now he's making a lot of money and he's very successful. So I think it's important for, even if you're selling online, even if you're selling in e-commerce store where you can live, as you said, you can live anywhere, or you don't really need to see your customer. I think it's important still to see your customer, of course, and still having that type of relationship, even if it's for a short amount of time, like you did. Like you didn't do it for a long time, but it gave you enough knowledge. Right?
I think yes, and this knowledge, I gained that experience many years ago, like продавщица experience, right? But it's just the same. Every year people have the same requests and the same problems. So times maybe change, but people don't.
People don't.
Yeah, it is true. So of course I understood that some women they want to show something or to hide something, what troubles and what issues about their bodies they have. So it really helped me to be more a bit more open-minded in this area, because if I didn't connect the reality, I suppose that my start wouldn't bring me some money. I think yes. I couldn't gain and earn at least something if in the very beginning I didn't behave more practical, maybe.
Practical,
yeah, because I didn't start from big silky dresses with, I don't know, some kind of embroidery and so on and so forth. My items were pretty simple, but they had nice patterns. That was my first idea. So I had to earn for my everyday life, because I understood that I need to earn for myself to have some life at least, right? And to grow business. So it must be very simple objects which I will be able to sell without big investments. That was my idea in the very beginning. But of course I wanted to take part in some competitions. So there was like contest for young designers, and I took part in it. I sent my sketches. They said, you're accepted, you can come to Georgia, and so on and so forth. So I came, I prepared the collection. I paid like tons of money for this collection. It was made of pure silk, and I made flowers of pure silk. It was very expensive. And then I understood that I'm not interested in Fashion Week at all.
You don't do Fashion Week?
Yes, once.
You done once?
Yes, once. Yeah. But it was, well, actually it was a nice experience, but I can't say that my business grew because I took part in Fashion Week.
I agree.
Week.
I see a lot of designers in Fashion Week, and they just produce, they have probably 2 or 3 people. I mean, you have, over 20 people working for you now, and you're probably a very successful designer, one of the most successful designers, especially in Kyiv, and you don't do Fashion Week.
No, I'm not interested in it. Yeah, I think that it's not necessary at all. I think so.
What makes you happy though? What makes you happy about? Is that making money? Is that making dresses? Is that?
I like when, for example, there are different items in brand. Some of them are a bit more practical, and some of them a bit more complicated, because it's always a risk when you try to show something special for the customer, because I always have a fear that they won't understand this item, that they won't accept this design, and I don't want to disappoint my colleagues, for example, because I understand that they have some hopes about the brand, about their own future, about their own lives. And of course, brand will be prosperity if my designs will be sold out, you know, they will become bestsellers. And of course, I have this stress and fear that new collection won't be sold. Every time I have the same fear. But when I see that people buy and they enjoy and they write out these messages like, I feel myself differently in your dress and in your item, and I want to get more because I love your brand, that makes me happy, because I understand that we will grow after this collection, at least a little bit. And people, and I know that I can make their future better. My colleagues, I'm talking about my company now, that I will be able to make their salaries higher, for example, because I feel very good when I understand that people feel comfortable in my company, that they earn enough, because in Ukraine it's pretty hard, yes. And when I see that people accept my designs and they buy it, of course I like when my idea becomes a transaction. For me, it's nice. I feel happy. Probably it's very simple, but I like it.
No, I think I know, I kind of understand what you mean, especially when you said when my complicated design, people buy my complicated design, because I think is the moment where your art becomes revenue, like art and revenue come together, you know. And a lot of the times it's like the things that you don't like to do become revenue, and
get no satisfaction at all.
and you had that. I remember in one of your collection you had bodycons for a while, and I remember talking to you and you were like, I have to do bodycons. I mean, there's nothing to do with my collection and my style, but you know, women want bodycon, so I have to do bodycon. And in that moment, you were just making a money decision.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it wasn't make you happy. I think happy makes you when your design that you want or your team does. True. Then you're able to sell your art and.
I still have this dream when we become bigger and more famous, that we will have this level of freedom when we create something, and of course people will get it because it will be like very famous brand and so on and so forth. But in the very beginning, I didn't know how to explain how to wear romantic chiffon dresses in winter. It had no logic. In Ukraine, because we have cruel winters and it's very cold, and I didn't know how to sell it in winter at all. So I decided to use my previous experience from Predavshitsa time, and I understood that bodycons probably will work. So, and we found nice fabric. It had pretty nice quality. And we prepared maybe 10 designs of bodycons and survived in winter and in late autumn only with the help of them, yes. It was bestseller.
Sounds almost like a farmer story. We survived the winter with bodycons. You know, a farmer would say we survived the winter.
Yes, but because I always felt like we need to survive this winter, and then in spring.
You're a summer brand, yeah, of course.
Yeah, we're a resort, but like resort from Kyiv. It's it's not Australia. So that's why.
Yeah, I mean, outside it was -10 today when we were shooting. So we definitely we know that. What's the future like? What would you love to see, like, as next step for Over the Sea?
Next step of Over the Sea. I want to build an art department in my company, because at this moment I'm an only person in our department, and
you mean the only designer?
Yeah, the only designer. I choose fabrics, I make patterns, and everything. So like I control our photo shoots, all this visual material. It's interesting, but sometimes you need to focus more on other things and to change actually the picture, because I understood that I become very tired, not because of my job, but because I see the same picture every day. it's not very inspiring sometimes.
So you are still the only. Yeah, I understand what you mean, because the thing is like now the brand is still very much you, and you want to give a brand its own identity, and to do
Yeah.
that, I think you'll have to be to the point where you don't actually know what's going on. Like you don't even control the designs
Yes.
anymore. You're
Yeah.
just saying, I like this, I don't like this, but then you
Yeah.
have people that are starting to create in the brand, because now the brand is you.
It's
You
true.
leave, there's no over the sea, right?
Yeah, and during this previous 2 years, I understood that if I feel bad, brands feel bad, and I didn't like this
It's
situation.
a lot of responsibility. Did you ever want to quit?
I think yes.
How
I
many
wanted.
times?
Every year I catch this idea that oh my
like a
God,
pause.
no, that's enough.
Like a
Yes,
sequence.
yeah, that's no, that's enough of me. I think I will sell it or just close the door and say bye and disappear. I don't know, and just will go to some island and turn off my phone, and nobody will know where am I at this time. Every time I want to quit. Every year I want to quit this. Yes, I
Is it always the same month or just like?
Actually, it's a nice question. I think during the winter, maybe, or after winter, when I feel lack of vitamins or something like that, I think I will quit this job. Yes.
So this winter you wanted to quit, or you skipped?
I've skipped. Oh, probably it's. You asked me a bit too early. Maybe in 1 month I decided to do that yet. No, I didn't want to quit this year. It's only 1 month past. Yes, yet.
But what made you not quit?
Because it's not on the business, maybe. Because I feel every time I tell my mom I want to quit this business, she said, she says like, Ksusha, you did so much for this, and look how it looks like now. Look at your first pictures from this label, and look who buys your items. Celebrities come to you and buy your items. You become a bit more famous every month. How can you quit it? It's just the beginning of the way. What shall you do? You will get bored if you go to another company. And then I understand, okay, what shall I do if I quit this job? No, and of course I understand that I have pretty big plans inside of this label, and I still didn't achieve them. I didn't achieve my goals, so I need to move on. Probably a bit, probably make speed a bit less sometimes.
Yeah, no, I understand. And I think a lot of people quit or they think about quitting because they just think about today and now.
Yeah.
And so they're thinking about, I haven't achieved what I wanted to do. I haven't done enough what I wanted to do. And the thing is like, they don't look at 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And how far they've become. You just see like these kind of tiny drops, but you don't actually look at the whole picture. And this is always happening to see where you were 5 years ago and where you are now. And it seems that you haven't moved that much, but when you actually start to see how much you've moved in 4 or 5 years, you're like, oh my God, I progressed so much. You're actually moving forward, you're just not feeling that you're moving forward. Because you do one step, one step, one step.
It's true.
And you're not looking at the road back to you. And this is the journey, right? You're just looking forward, you're not looking backwards. But sometimes it's important to stop and say, look how far I've gone, during this path, during my journey.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I think it's like hiking. You look at the peak and then it seems that you're never reaching that. And then you look back and you look at the valley and you're like, oh my God, I just went so high, right? And this is the same as in
It's
business.
the same, it's
you
true.
have to sometimes stop and look back.
And you need to catch this feeling of satisfaction, when you stop and you want to enjoy what you have already done.
Yeah.
But also, sometimes I ask myself, am I so weak that I can't build it further? So am I so weak that I just can't make this art department? I don't know. Because at this moment I'm trying to learn how to do it. Because if art department will becomes bigger one day, I will have to control it all the time. Like the level of communication will become bigger and bigger. So you need to speak all the time, you need to explain, you need to get into different topics every day. It's not very easy, I understand, but it's interesting.
My advice to you is like hire good leads. or manager and stuff like that. I call them leaders because a manager is someone that just manages people. A leader is someone that inspires people to do more. And I think as a business owner, you should hire leaders instead of managers because you are a leader as long as people are following. And a lot of mistakes I think that business owners do is that they tend to just hire managers. When you are a manager, yeah, you hire someone that kind of manages your business, but you still need to be the person that move everyone forward. And as you said, if you're sick or you want to take a break and stuff like this, your business is not going to move forward, and you don't want that. So I think it's like pushing people or pushing the people that you're hiring to having this kind of leadership mentality. And especially we call it like the servant leader. And a servant leader is someone that it's a kind of, it leads, but it kind of serves the people that are responsible for him, right? Which means that you are, as a manager, as a leader, you are there for them. You know, you go them, it's like, I'm here to help you, right? I'm not here to control you. I'm not here, I'm not your boss. I'm your tutor. I'm your mentor. You can come to me for any advice. And I think it's important if you hire these people that allow others and empower others to do their job. This is where the time where you're gonna be able to step out as an owner and take your time and live, you know, whatever in Sri Lanka, on a beach somewhere, and then you just check the numbers once a month.
Yeah, once a month, or just get like a nice transaction.
Yeah, I think that's a big step when your brand is detached to you. I think it's like your brand becomes something that is not dependent on you anymore. And I think as a business owner, that's a big achievement.
Yeah,
And it's scary as well
agree.
because it's like your baby. It's like growing a child that you have to let them go when they are 18, and you're just like, hey, okay, now you're free to go into the world. But it's you know, you can't have that relationship. Even as a parent, you can't have that relationship with a child that, you know, they're still living at your house when they're 40 years old. You have to let them go eventually.
Yeah, it's true. It's true, but you know, at this moment I have a big problem. I don't know how to find proper people. It's not.
There's a problem with everyone. Hiring people is the worst.
Yeah,
it's the right people, yeah.
Yeah, because I can't keep distance between my colleagues. I always, when a new person comes, I believe in him or in she, okay. I believe in her future, in their achievements, in their possibilities, and so on and so forth. So I always see people a bit better than probably they are sometimes. And for me, it's very complicated question to fire them if I don't like something. I work with this idea sometimes for 3, 4, 5 months. I just can't make this decision. Just let this person go. For me, it's very complicated because I think that what if this person will never find next job? I'm scared for this. It's not okay. It's not normal, but I feel very responsible for this.
I'm very similar. I had to learn a lot, and I think it's like is changing the mentality from running a family like a running a business like a family, or running a business like a sports team.
Yeah.
You're not a family.
Yes.
You're a sports team. There's not in a family is there unconditional love. In a sports team, there is love and there is camaraderie or team effort, but it's very much you are here to be part of a team. You're here to be part of a group, and you have to perform. If you don't perform, you're gone.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that if you're sick or if you break your leg or if you're injured, we're gonna let you go. We're here for you because
we need to support each other.
We need to support each other, of course. But you're here to perform. And biggest companies, including Shopify as well, and other, they actually change this from family mentality to sports team mentality. And a lot of successful companies that I speak to, they have this. I think the most important, my advice is like, you worry about other people, but at the end you have to worry about yourself. And I think the business, it's giving work and giving opportunities to a lot of other people. And if there is the wrong person within the team, it's going to affect everyone else, right? Yes. So it's like you are trying to make someone happy, but then without knowing, you make maybe 5, 6 people unhappy. It's kind of more like a democracy, you know. It's you have to choose what's best for everyone. And this is where the sporting mentality comes in, because you always do what's best for the team and not what's best for one person.
It's true. That's
But it's a problem that a lot of people do, and I think it's not bad that you have that, because it means you are actually a good human being. It's easier, I think, to become more strict rather than become more human and more empathic and stuff like this. I think it's easier.
Well, I like in process of learning how to act like this, but what I understood that I become a bit more strict when I get tired, when I have no emotional power to carry someone's problems on me. I become more. I see picture a bit more clear.
Yes.
So yes, no. You can. That's nice. You can't. I'm sorry. Bye. So maybe I need to get tired all the time, and then I will make nice decisions. I don't know.
I think for me it was always, we kind of changed my the way we do business. I think is I hire very quickly, but also fire very quickly at the same time. And I think changing more into like, you don't necessarily get a job at the beginning, but you get an opportunity. Because from my experience, in 1 month, within a month, you see if the person that did the interview with you is actually the person that you expect them to be in the job. In 1 month, you see it straight away. And a lot of times we're like, you did an amazing interview and I had so much big expectations. Yes. And then within the first month, you're like,
oh, something's wrong. Yeah.
Exactly. So now it's like they come in and within 1 month we make a decision. And we're very clear at the beginning. It's like, we're going to make a decision within 1 month with you. You get an opportunity to work for this company, but it's not like, oh, you got the job and that's it. It's like, it's going to be like this forever. We're going to keep you even though you don't perform.
And do you hire yourself now? Or you have HR manager?
Yeah, it's a different process. It's like we have an HR manager because we're hiring a lot, but we have different. We have structure now, an interview process, and I suggest you to do the same. We start with a life story, and then we do an assignment, and the assignment can be different for different departments. So if you are like an engineer department, or if you are like in the marketing department, it's always a different assignment, and an assignment can be. Like if you are a copywriter, like I hired a copywriter recently, and he was like, can you write for me something about the company? And it needs to be like a blog post on this topic, and 2 or 3 social media ads. And I don't really look if they're good or not, because obviously they don't know the company, they don't know much about the brand structure and all of that, but I look how they think. So always an assignment. And after the assignment, there is an interview with a third person that is not me, it's not my business partner, it's like different, from a different department. So let's say I'm hiring for marketing. The first interview is with the HR manager, and then there is an assignment, and then there is an interview with me because I'm running the marketing. But then the last interview, it was someone from engineering or someone from products. It's like always a kind of a different perspective that is not the marketing. And I see that started to kind of, we got better at hiring people. First, because the life story interview gives you an idea of what the person is. And I truly believe that skills can be learned, but you cannot really change who someone is.
Yeah, it's
right?
True.
So if you have, your values as a person, your values as a company, and you start to understand the people that you hire, they're good, they always have the same characteristics. So you know now that if someone comes in and there's a kind of a strange life story, or it doesn't have the characteristics that you want, they might have the skills, but they're not the right person.
Yes,
and then the skills are proved with assignments, So I always do that. So I think it takes a little bit longer, but it's much easier to hire someone than fire someone.
It is.
It is. Firing someone, I find it harder. So I want to make sure that the person that I hire, at least I have 80 to 90%, I got it right. It's and I think with these steps, it works a little bit better. As the last question, what is 2023, 2024 for you? What you hope to see? Beside obviously probably this conflict between Russia and Ukraine.
Even in general, or
I think in your life and in politics and in in general for your business? And
Yeah, well,
is that for you personally? What would you like?
so yes, and I have only a few things in my plans. I want to become a bit more efficient as an entrepreneur. I want to spend more time with my family and to pay more attention in my life. And I want to learn more new things. Probably that's all. I want my life to be interesting and efficient for my business. Very simple, and that is it. That's all.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much for the time and to meet again. And let's go for a drink.
Oh, sure.
Thank you so much for watching the first episode of Popup TV. To stay up to date with our latest videos, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking the button above this video.